Before you install SAP Crystal Server 2016, plan just a few details in advance, such as the database that the central management server will use, and the web application server to use. Also, obtain a trial license key code or a full license key code. You'll need it during installation. Then, double-check that the computer you've identified to host SAP Crystal Server 2016 meets minimum system requirements. Download the SAP Crystal Server installation package from the SAP Support Portal or SAP Store. Run Setup. The first screen will display a list of installation prerequisites and a status indicating whether the computer you're installing on meets them. Click an individual failed item to see details. If necessary, correct any deficiencies and rerun setup. Enter your license key code when prompted. For a first-time installation, choose to install the full product. If this is the first SAP Business Objects installation on the computer, you may choose a drive and folder to install the product in. If other related products are already installed, the existing installation folder will appear and you won't be able to change it. The core component of SAP Crystal Server 2016, the Central Management Server, requires a database to store its data. You may use the bundled Sybase SQL Anywhere database, or choose an existing database you've already created on another database server. Make this choice and click Next. If you have an existing Java-based web application server, you may use it. Otherwise, select the bundled Tomcat server. The bundled subversion product can manage multiple versions of reports in SAP Crystal Server 2016. If you'd like to use this feature, accept the default option to configure and install it, and click Next. By default, the name of the computer will be filled in for you, and the default port for the Server Intelligence Agent will appear. Typically, you'll leave these as is. The default Central Management Server port should be left as is, except in the unlikely event that another product on the computer is using port 6400. Since core access to SAP Crystal Server is required once installation is complete, select an administrator password. It must meet minimum security requirements, such as containing an uppercase letter and a number. If you enter a password that doesn't meet these requirements, you'll be prompted to re-enter it. The CMS cluster key will be required if you upgrade or modify the installation. You may consider using the same password for both administration and as the cluster key password. Make sure you record these passwords so you don't forget them. If you selected the default Sybase SQL Anywhere database, replace the default port number if another product on the computer is already using port 2638. And supply a database owner password. Make a note of the password so you don't forget it. If you selected the default Tomcat web application server, you may want to change default port assignments. In particular, if you don't have any other web servers installed on the computer, you may wish to change the connection port to 80 from 8080. If you use a port other than 80, viewers will need to supply the port as part of the web address when connecting to SAP Crystal Server 2016. A secondary web application server for custom programming interfaces defaults to port 6405. In the unlikely event that another product on the computer is using the port, change from the default. Otherwise, just click Next. If you selected the default Subversion utility earlier, specify an alternative port if, by chance, another product on the computer is already using port 3690. Otherwise, leave the port as is. Add and confirm a repository password for Subversion. Make sure to note the password so you don't forget it. If you have a configured SAP Solution Manager on the network, you may configure connectivity to it. Otherwise, leave the default selected and click Next. If an existing Intrascope Enterprise Manager system is installed on your network, you may configure connectivity to it here. Otherwise, just leave the default option selected and click Next. If you need to change any of your previous selections, you may click Back. Otherwise, click Next to begin installation of SAP Crystal Server 2016. Setup will begin installing and configuring SAP Crystal Server. Be patient. A lot's going on here, and it will take a while to finish. Double-check your installation by launching a web browser. Enter the name of the server, followed by a colon and the port you configured for the web application server, a slash, the uppercase letters BOE, another slash, and the uppercase letters CMC. Log into SAP Crystal Server 2016 with the administrator ID and password you supplied during setup. You may then test and further customize your SAP Crystal Server 2016 system.